Hello and welcome to week 1 and the science guide. This week we will be discussing the scientific method, the several steps that are involved with that, and different forms of measurement. The scientific method has at least 5 steps and there are different versions of this. The one that we will be discussing includes asking a question as step 1, forming a hypothesis as step 2, conducting an experiment to test your hypothesis as step 3, analyzing the results as step 4, and drawing conclusions as step 5. Basically, you want to be able to ask the question of how, what, when, where, and why. You want to be able to make a prediction. You want to conduct the experiment to test your hypothesis, and then you want to analyze the results and draw your conclusion. Next, we will discuss measurement and the different kinds of units. Universally, the metric unit is most commonly used. This is indicated by meters, and this is represented by the lowercase m. Generally, the metric units are kilometers, meters, centimeters, and millimeters. There's also an English system that uses yards and inches. We will be discussing both, but focusing more on metric units. The metric units are, such as the meter, are used to measure the length of an object and the distance between two objects. And there are definitely differences when you compare it to the English system. For instance, a mile, which is longer, a mile or a kilometer. The mile is longer than the kilometer, which is longer, the yard or the meter. The yard is shorter than a meter, and an inch or a centimeter, an inch is larger. So we will be discussing these different types of measurements with the metric unit. Next, we'll be moving into matter, and matter is everything that takes up space. And this would include volume, mass, and density. For volume, it's how much space does it take up, and you measure this by length, width, and height. Mass is how heavy is an object, and density is how tightly packed is it, if you're looking at a solid, a liquid, or a gas. Things can also be measured by temperature, if it's cold or frozen, warm or hot. And also we would use a graduated cylinder to measure irregular shapes. Like if you had a rock, that would be difficult to measure, but you could put it in a graduated cylinder with water and see how much water displacement there is and measure that. And we will also discuss scientific notation, which is a way to look at very large or very small numbers. Instead of writing out 0.0000000056, you would notate it as 5.6 to the 10 to the minus 0. We will be discussing measuring matter and measurement as well as the scientific method, and there will be labs so that you can test this out.